Sounds drive.
Hey doll, just landed. I saw the email say to call you as soon as I got done flying. Is everything okay?
Sounds drive.
Alright. It's a lump.
Sounds drive.
It's breast cancer. I will never forget that day. That day sucked.
Sounds drive.
It was the most challenging place where I found myself trying to figure out what am I supposed to do.
Sounds drive.
Because now all the roles that I was, being a husband, being a leader, being a pilot that saves lives, all those roles all of a sudden decided that they all wanted to have my immediate attention, that they had to be the priority. But when everything's a priority, nothing is the priority. All right, let me check with command about getting me home early. I know, baby, but you report to me too. We all save lives here, baby. So, working with Wendy, we were able to actually prioritize what was important. You see, at the time in December, I still had 2+ months left of that deployment. Her concern was my job saves lives. My concern was I'm a husband of a woman who just discovered she has stage 4 breast cancer. And then how do I not let my people get sucked into my drama? How do I not make it drama? How do I keep it at a level where I can still have still have a professional culture, an attitude of we save lives, that we fix and fly aircraft, and we're the best at what we do? How can I lead that when all of a sudden my world is falling apart? Wendy and I figured out the best thing to do was we have to combine a gap. Not that the gap existed, but in the leadership hierarchy between my boss and my first reported upon, they needed to close that gap. They also needed to be in concert with each other to be able to keep me in check. Because it wasn't, it's not about me personally, but I'm a pilot with a crew of 6. 5 of their lives in the hands of who's on the controls. And we have aircraft fatalities because of people who lost track of or lost attention of what they're supposed to do. Fortunately for me, I considered my training in compartmentalization to be excellent. I had great role models, I had great instructors that helped me be able to put things where they belong, to be able to pay attention or prioritize the focus of where it's needed, especially when you're flying. When you're flying, 5 things are happening at the same time. Where am I going? Where am I going to? What is the mission? What are the results expected? Who's trying to kill me? Where am I allowed to go? Where am I not allowed to go? Is this aircraft handling the way I need it to handle? When I pull up, do we go up? When I go forward, do we go forward? All those things are happening simultaneously. That if you have this little thing in the back of your head creeping in, just trying to suck up any type of attention, you now have given less attention to the things that you needed for flying. That was one thing to value real quick and hang on to, was that training in compartmentalization. Decision making was going to be highly degraded. I am an emotionally charged person. And making decisions when I'm emotionally charged is not one of my best suits. What I've learned from the past is that I bounce my decisions off my first follower, which is the second leader. That's my directed report upon person. His name is Darren. Seriously, his name is Darren. He's a damn good Marine. I think highly of him. I worked with him in 2 different deployments. If Darren didn't think it smelt right, tasted right, was right, he would let me know. He was not afraid of the landmine to say, hey sir, I don't think that's going to work, or hey sir, it's kind of screwed up. It was important to have that trust between the two of us, to have him openly speak about the best way of coming without, me having an ego. I didn't need to have an ego because I was able to take what he was feeding back and knowing where my position was, that he was giving me sound advice. While I'm in this heightened emotional state of fear for my wife, determination to complete the mission, anger that it was important for me to communicate continuously with Wendy. Having those communications allowed me to hear her fears and be a sounding board, to hear, to listen, not to solve, but just to be there with her, to let her air out her fears, her scares, her concerns. She also gave me time to be able to voice my frustrations for those 2 months. My frustrations with the job, my frustrations with the environment, my frustrations with the people we're trying to support and help, the people that we're supposed to be helping back home. She listened, did not try to solve my problems, but just listen, allow me to vent. Fast forward those 2 months, we have a good plan in place that is executing well. The command structure is working, in which on days that I've been off or I have not been myself, Darren and my boss have been able to close that gap. They've been able to evaluate and say, hey, look, this is our concern. We think you just stick to troubleshooting aircraft because that's what brings you joy. Or we think you need, stay on the night flight schedule because we know that brings you calmness. Those factors allowed me to have things compartmentalized in their locations. Flying, administration, home. And everything's underlined with my social skills. Yes, I struggle with social skills. Always have, always will, and I own it. But I try to get better at it. Just because you own it doesn't mean you don't try to improve upon it. On the news, and be able to take that time to organize my feelings, I was able to reflect and appreciate what we did in the year prior to this deployment. That year was meant for us to come together, come up with a plan, practice the plan, refine the plan from the bottom up, letting the people know, hey, things don't work. And then having that ability to be able to let it go on autopilot. Having a great preparation time isn't about having the perfect plan. It's about having the perfect process for planning. And so our people were ready to take on anything that the war was going to throw at us, including my wife being diagnosed with cancer. Because of that, I was reassured to myself that our people could continue to do great things. I knew that Darren would be able to fill me in, help me with the decision making. Or if I was really out of it, he could go to my boss without any fear, with having a great relationship with him, and be able to have that conversation and allow my boss to help him with the decision making, or to make the decision for himself, or may have him make the decision as well, as long as he came with good alternate solutions. Personal crisis happens, life happens, and timing always sucks. Right when you're thinking that you're on top of the world and that you're bulletproof, there's always something that will happen to bring you back to reality. And it is in those times that if you train yourself, prepare yourself, remind yourself that everything will work out with or without you, because you put a process in place. As a leader, you created a process that allowed the community, the organization, to still operate, especially during the most dynamic parts of the time or stages of its growth, to be able to handle it while you're being torn 3 different directions. Okay, baby, this is going to be a new adventure for us. You know I love you, and that I will support whatever you decide. I'm here for you. Let me know if I have to make some changes. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. I'm Eric with Leadership Developed. If you like this video, hey, do me a favor. Really, just hit that like button. Help me have this message spread to other people who need to understand and learn this stuff. It's important that we are able to have a better future, a better world, to be able to share ideas like this, to share experiences that will resonate for others to come, to be greater leaders than ourselves. Hey, if you missed last week's video, check it out. It's right over here. We'll talk to you again next week.